Hello and welcome! In this video I show you how you can create a new user sound. You can only create a new sound from the existing ones. You cannot create a new sound from the expansion pack sounds on the keyboard itself. To create a new sound for the expansion pack, you need to use the Medeli Grand Suite software on your PC. Please note that. Okay, to show you the possibilities of the editing function, I use the strings, as these are the best suited for it. We choose the sound that we want to edit and then switch to the Edit menu with a button at the bottom right. I'll give you an overview of the most important areas. On the left side, you'll find a volume control to adjust the main volume of your sound. You can operate these with your finger or the rotary wheel. Next to and below are the cutoff and resonance controls. The cutoff control is used to lower the frequency of the high frequencies. The further you turn the control down, the duller your sound will be, and vice versa. The resonance frequency controls how much the cutoff frequency is raised. Let's start with the envelope. The attack time determines how long it takes for the sound to reach its maximum value after a key has been struck. This is particularly interesting with strings, as it can be used to determine whether the strings are used hard or soft. The decay time determines how long the sound takes after the attack to reach the sustain level. This means that the sound usually becomes quieter after the attack. It's a bit difficult to hear. Sustain describes the volume a tone has while it is sustained. This has already been fixed for the sounds in the keyboard. The last one is the release time. This determines how long the end of the tone can be heard after the key is released. The shorter, the more choppy our sound ends. The longer, the softer it sounds. A long release time has an effect similar to pressing the sustain button, which makes the sound fade longer. Now we come to the vibrato, which changes the pitch of the sound played. With the depth, we adjust the strength of the change. With the rate, we set the speed and thus change a so-called low-frequency oscillator, LFO. With the delay time, we change the responsiveness of the vibrato, so the time until the vibrato affects the sound. This is useful for instruments that should only begin to play vibrato after a certain playing time. You can use the compare button to switch back and forth between the original sound and your changes. Now let's move on to the keyboard area. Here we can set the different music play modes from polyphonic, with or without portamento, to monolegato. In addition, we can preset the octaves for the right and left hand here, as well as adjust the sustain times. The octave for the right hand here. And correspondingly, here for the left hand. The duration of the sound with activated sustain can be set here separately for the button and foot pedal. So you can work with two different times, which is very practical. A shorter one when I have pressed the button, and a longer one when I press the foot pedal. In the velocity area, you can set the gradient and offset of the pressure sensitivity of the keys. Try what works best for you. I get along best with the standard settings. Now, let's find out the difference between poly, mono, portamento and legato. With poly, all pressed notes are played. With mono, only the newest note is played and the others are cancelled. Portamento means a sliding change to the other note up and down. The duration of this portamento glide can be changed here, which, with a particular long time, leads to an effect that you have certainly heard in various films and television productions. Okay, let's stop here. When playing legato, the glide is created without a new attack being perceptible. Now, let's have a look at the effects. There are a total of 3 usable effects. The 2 global effects are used for the entire keyboard. And the insert effect, which only affects the sound that we are currently editing, can be activated here or with a button on the keyboard. Bypass means that no effect has been selected. The global effects are set in the global menu of the keyboard under DSP effects. The respective strength of the global effects and the strength of the individual tracks are set here. In addition to the insert effects, there's also a global EQ. You can choose between reverb and chorus for the global effects. Other effects are not available here. You have to load these via the insert effects. Back to the insert effects in the edit area. We'll now use the grand piano and set the global effects to 0 so that we can hear the insert effect properly. When I turn the effect on and off, you can clearly hear the difference. How dry or effective the signal should appear is controlled with the dry-wet control. The higher the value, the more signal is sent to the effect. There are some good effects that can all be customized. Let me show a few. For example, you can set the division to the beat and number of echoes for the echo effect. The pen delay lets the echo wander back and forth to the left and right. You can set the times for each side separately. With the FB level, you set the number of echoes. After you have set the insert effect for the sound, you can specify how much signal should be sent to the global effects. With the chorus effect, you can, for example, recreate a honky-tonk piano. Remember that the global effects cannot be switched off, but the insert effects can be switched on and off with the button. Here I have another tip. In the global menu in the DSP effects area, you can create user insert effects and call them up later quickly and easily in Sound Edit. Just set up an insert effect the way you need it and press Save. You have 30 storage spaces available that you can call up later. Just go back to the Sound Edit, then to the effects. Now edit the insert effect and call up the user area. Now let's take a look at the two-band equalizer, with which we can influence the low and high frequencies. With the lower slider, you adjust the gain or attenuation. With the upper one, you shift the frequency range. You must understand the specified frequencies as a bell around the frequency, which does not cover exactly the displayed, but a causal range around this frequency. Finally, let's take a look at the part effects, which are switched on and off using the corresponding key on the keyboard. The harmony effect creates chords, for example, from a single played note, for which the automatic accompaniment would have to be switched on. The various presets can be changed by tapping on the name. As for the harmony effects, the part effect on the keyboard must also be switched on for the arpeggio. I'm just giving a quick overview here. In addition to all the existing ones, user arpeggios can also be created. Maybe we will look at this in a later video. The speed of the arpeggios depends on the set tempo. With the as-played arpeggio, the individual notes are gradually added to the run. Of course, there are also the normal up and down sequences. The slicer effect chops up your sound. There are various presets that you should just try out. In order to use it, the part effect must also be activated. Okay, let's increase the reverb and then switch to the last tab, Control. In this area, you set the functions of the control joystick on the left of the keyboard. The horizontal axis controls the pitch and the vertical axis controls the modulation. But you can switch and use the vertical for the strength of the filter. Finally, you should save your creation with the button Save at the bottom right. In this case, I will leave the menu and show you how I create a sound myself. Check it out if you like. Otherwise, this was all I have for you today. If you have any questions or comments on this, write them in the area below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Thank you.